Good morning, everybody. How are you? Chad Thibodeau. Welcome to another Monday Morning Mentor. So glad that you guys are here. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to be jumping in and we're going to be talking about events. Now, so many of you guys may know that, for the last 13, 14, 15 years, I have been helping people just like you run a small event between 12 and 24 people and turn that into big profit, seeing as much as over $100,000 in a weekend. In fact, that's not even true. There's so much more than that. I remember Frankie Orbaiz, he came to my house and he hosted his first event, and he did over $400,000 with only, I think he said 19 people that was in attendance, and he did over $400,000 in revenue. So the sales pitch, the promise, is we'll help you run your very own small event between 12 and 24 people and profit up to six figures in one weekend. Some people have done much more than that. Other people a little bit more modestly, but the fact of the matter is that events is where it's at. And what's interesting is events have come back, and they've come back with further. So if you remember, events were really popular. Then we had this little thing called pandemic. Events went away, and then everybody moved to virtual, just like you and I are doing right this moment. They went to virtual, and then they got really clever. Like the people with some money, they got really clever. They started getting these really big studios and where you could see everybody, and they did a pretty great job of recreating the live event, even though you were in the privacy of your home. But there's something that live virtual events can't replicate, and that is the touch, the interaction, the networking that you get when you're at an event. Plus, you can get laser focused and all sorts of good things. We're going to be talking with you about why events are great. But what I learned is that big events, like huge events, huge conferences, they're fantastic. Sometimes we love going to them. You get a lot of good information. You have a really good network, but they're expensive and they're risky. And so what that does is that eliminates a lot of people like you and I. So what I've learned is a small event between 12 and 24 people, you can pull off without a ton of marketing money, without a ton of budget. It's easy to sell out. And then you can build relationships with people, walk them through a process, and at the end of it, sell them into whatever it is you're selling them into, whether it's your high-ticket or mid-ticket coaching program, whether it's you're trying to sell them a mastermind or whatever it is you're trying to do. I just sort of believe that events is where it's at. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you a little tease of our small event, big profit curriculum. Now, this is a 10-part series, and I'm going to give you part 1 and 2 today. Maybe I'll only get to part 1, but I'm going to give that to you today. And then we're going to come back and then actually we're not going to come back. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get the rest of it. Is exactly how we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so you can see my slides. I think you can see that. There we go. So this is called Small Event Big Profit, and I've been doing it for a while. This was my first iteration of branding, and then it went to this right here. Oh, sorry, went a little fast. Went to this right here. This is when I did it at my big, gigantic home in Gilbert. We called it the Cavu Castle, and it's been a lot of fun. But we have literally put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people through this process and helped them create their very own small event. And I want to be able to help you do this as well. Now, small events, once again, anybody can do them, okay? So let me get you into why events are the right thing. So I believe that there's no better way to connect with clients, transfer knowledge, build relationships and rapport, or make high-ticket sales than being the host of a small event. Now, let me just tell you something. MLM companies have known the power of small events for quite a while, okay? They know the power of small events. And this is why, like when you did Tupperware or Shackley or Amway or any of those, they would tell you to throw a home party, right? And so what you do is you get 12 to 24 of your besties, you put them in a room, and you're the host, and you demonstrate the product, and it does all these things. It connects with clients, transfers knowledge, builds relationships and rapport, and it helps you make sales, right? And the host is the person who gets the benefit from all of that. And so I want you to consider being the host of a small event, okay? And what happens is it allows you to become a big fish in a small pond. If you have 12 to 24 people in a room, you are the big fish, okay? And you get a lot of attention regardless of the size of pond you have. So like, for instance, like if you were to do a webinar okay, and you only have 12 people on a webinar, most people would not consider that successful. But if you ran a small event and you had 12 people in a room where you could disseminate that information and build rapport with them, that would be a huge success. The reason is because on a webinar, if you have 12 people, you may get 1 or 2 to convert, whereas in a small event, like a big room, you have 12 people, you may get 4 to 8 to convert. And so you would feel like that was a success. And so here are the 3 significant impacts that hosting an event will make, okay? Number 1, it introduces people to you, your business, and your brand. You say, well, Chad, they may know me. Yes, they do know you, okay? But they may see you, in a social setting, or they may see you temporarily in a teaching setting. But when you're hosting an event, they see you for a prolonged period of time to the professional you, to the one who's disseminating this knowledge and information to them. So it introduces them. Second thing it does is it accelerates learning. So in other words, it's going to collapse time frames. So if for instance, like right now, I have 10 pieces to my small event, big profit. I can't give you all 10 pieces. I mean, I have a workbook, I have videos, I have a resource lab, I have everything for it. I can't give it all to you at this one event, or excuse me, at this one training, because that would be a lot. Well, at a small event, what this does is it accelerates the learning. It allows me to put all that information in your head, and it collapses time frames to get you from ideation to the pitch, okay? Third thing that it does is it baptizes them into your tribe, okay? And it allows them to belong. So I have pictures where and videos where when we would host these events, there'd be like 40, 50 people at these events, and all of a sudden a spontaneous pool party would break out. And everybody was like I'll never forget a guy named Daniel Linares. Daniel's awesome. Daniel was in Cavu for years. And he would come to these events. He'd make up songs about me, and it was so much fun. And then they would all start chatting Cavu, 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 and it just allowed us to make millions of dollars of sales using these events. And what it did was it allowed them to feel as if they belonged. And when they belonged, then they became incredibly loyal. And so, why should you host one? Okay, who should host one? So if you have something to say. Okay, so if you're a coach, a teacher, a strategist, a mentor, and you have something to say, or you have something to sell, I want you to consider leveraging the power of events. So here are 9 benefits of hosting a small event. So number 1, they're more profitable. Okay, I always like to say that big events equal small profits, and small events equal big profits. That's just how it works. Okay, they sell out easier. You only need to sell 12 to 24. That's it, okay? And you can probably do that just by picking up the phone or sending text messages or DMs. You probably don't need ads or any of the expensive stuff, okay? They're light on logistics, okay? With a big crowd, I mean, you got to get the lights and the fog and the stage and the LED screen and the crowd control and the security and the lanyards and the badges and all the graphics and the chairs and the hotel. It's a lot, right? Lots of logistics. With this one, you don't. With a small crowd, the logistics are simpler, and there's no need for complicated AV. There's no need for these complicated schedules. No need for massive staffing. In fact, excuse me, you could be the only staff at the event, okay? Number 4, repurpose content. So in a small environment, you can actually create content like this, and you can repurpose it later for online courses, podcasts, and social media. And so one of the things that I like to do at a small event is we'll be in a room gathered, and we'll be talking, shooting the breeze, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to teach for the next 22 minutes, okay? And I'm going to take this teaching, and I'm going to break it up into 5 or 6 smaller teachings. So do me a favor. Okay, I want you guys to just absorb right now. Write down your questions. Don't ask questions right now. And when I'm done with the 22 minutes, then you can ask as many questions as you got it. Now, and then I'll remind them, when you host your event, this is what I want you to do. So I'm always teaching, okay? So I'll go on there. We'll catch our breath. Camera will be on me. Hey, today I want to talk to you about 9 events. So then you jump in your teaching, right? And that's what you could do at a small event, whereas it's a little goofy in a large event, okay? You can captivate your audience because small events allow you to communicate without distractions, ensuring they're all present for your pitch. So like when you're on a webinar, okay, and you have, let's say, 24 people on your webinar, and you get to the point with the pitch, you have no idea if even one person is watching you at that moment. They may be, in the refrigerator or in the restroom, or man, they may have just tapped out, right? Whereas in a small event, nobody gets up and leaves. They sit there captivated watching you teach and watching your pitch because they're a little embarrassed to get up and leave, right? So they're captivated. That's one of the events. It elevates your authority and credibility, okay? It elevates your authority and credibility. So when you can elevate your credibility, then people line up to not just attend, but they line up to buy your products. So this is why, like all my small events, every single person that comes, they have a presentation. It's about 3 minutes that they have to do. Okay, and we prep them before they come, and at this event they do 3 minutes. And to be quite honest with you, I don't even care what the 3 minutes are, because what I do is I have my videographer and I have my photographer take credibility shots. So they're videoing so they can be seen teaching a group of people, and we get all kinds of shots for them that they can use on their publicity, because that's the elevation of the authority and credibility that we want to do. So you can not only do that for your clients, but you can do it for yourself. It accelerates relationships, okay? You spend quality and quantity time with them, okay? And what it does, it doesn't just collapse a time frame on your offer, it collapses a time frame on your relationship, okay? You can do more in one day in a small event than you can do an entire year in coaching, okay? And so when you do this, when you host an event, the quality time you spend with your client and prospects produce a coveted and everlasting bond. People who've been to one of my events, one of my small events, they're with me forever, right? I mean, they know me, and we build a bond, we build a rapport, and it doesn't matter how many years go by. If I see them, I remember them, they remember me, and they're always like, man, that event you did, that was one of the best things that ever happened in my life, right? Number 8, it increases your influence and impact, okay? So in other words, it allows you to not only have credibility and authority, but now moves you into the influence or impactful role. So what's the difference between credibility and authority and influence and impact? The difference is as a credibility and authority is something you've done, you have intellectual property, but now influence is where your experience, your credibility, your authority, your knowledge, your information is now like a brine seeping into the being of your prospect, of your client. And this is why I've seen, my influence and impact exponentially increase and make life-changing moments and transformations at these events. I remember we had a gal named Kim Shell. We were doing a board break at one of my events. And we had this gal, Kim Shell, who just could not break this board. Okay, everybody else broke it like a cracker. She just could not get through it. I don't know if she had a bad board or what happened. But we were working with her, we were pushing her. We weren't letting her off the hook. We were walking her through these psychological barriers that she had. And it took about 20 minutes. But I remember when she broke through, okay, the place went nuts. Everybody jumped in, gathered her, and it's still one of my favorite videos of all time. And when I've talked with her, many times she'll go back and she'll say that was one of the most influential, life-changing transformations that I've ever experienced in my life. That's what happens at a small event. Number 9, you get magnetic and viral marketing. Okay, so what happens is in our events, we teach people how to take their phone, right? So I always give them an assignment. If you ever come to one of my small events, you'll learn this. I give them an assignment, and they got to go and they got to take their phone and they got to do their assignment and put that on social media. And the reason now what I've got is I got 24 people who's at my event now all becoming marketers for me. Right? And so they're putting our event online, and it's creating the people who didn't come. It's giving them FOMO, okay? But it's giving magnetic and viral marketing to your event, okay? And that's the beautiful thing. Especially when your attendees spontaneously share their experience, it generates free publicity and exposure for several days on social media, way more than you could ever get by simply paying for it, okay? So I'm going to pause because the next piece of this is the 12 secrets to running a profitable event. So I just gave you piece one, the 9 benefits. Now what I want to do is I want to run through the 12 secrets. Now I'm going to go through these really fast, okay? It's going to take us about 3-4 minutes to get through all of these, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to put the word event in the comments, or shoot me the word event, and then I'm going to give you access to the rest of the course, just for a small fee. So if you were to come to Small Event Big Profit, like at our events, they're $5,029. If you were to come to if you were a client, they'd be $1,029. And then I'm going to let you have all this stuff for $99. Okay, just so you know. Okay, so you just got to put the word event. And so what's in there, there's all my trainings just like this. I think there's 10 of them in there. I've got my slideshow. I've got my workbook. I've got all my resources, the tools, the recipes, the calendars, everything that you need to be able to pull this thing off. It's all in there. And I'm going to give it to you first time ever. We'll eventually sell this for $997 because it's worth it. Okay, but since you guys are watching, you guys can get it for $99. So all you gotta do is put the word event. I'll shoot you a quick little link, and as soon as you send me the $99, I'll send you access to that, and you'll have access to all of it immediately. Okay, and so super fun. And I'm going to give you a free month into our Night School / Launch Fuel program. So not only do you get Small Event with Profit, but you also get all the other stuff that's in there. So come check it out. All right, so let's jump in. So there's 12 secrets that you need to know in order to run a profitable small event. Number one, you have to do whatever it takes to fill up your event. There's no sense in having an event with empty chairs. So you have to do whatever it takes. I don't care if you have to call, text, email, smoke screen, you name it. You got to do whatever it takes to fill it up. Second, emphasize the highlights and the outcomes of the events and not the details. Nobody cares about the details of your events, okay? What they care about is what's going to happen to me if I come. So put all your time, energy, and effort onto that, okay? Onto that. The only time I ever give a detail is if the detail is a selling point, okay? So like for instance, so we typically rent this big mega house in Florida. It's 15 bedrooms, 15 bathrooms, okay? And what I'll tell them is, hey, even though we're all together, you have your own private room, you have your own private bathroom, you have your own private closet, there's a safe in your room, and there's a code on the door specifically to you, so nobody can get in your room with the exception of you. And that takes a fear away. So sometimes I give them that. But most of the time you want to highlight it, okay? I want you to use pricing and purpose. And by the way, inside of Small Event Big Profit, the course, the training, I break all this down into like detail. Okay, I show you exactly how to do all this, FYI. Okay, so you're not wondering. Okay, you use pricing and purpose as a filter to attract the right type of attendee. You don't just want everybody there. So we start with pricing. Okay, so we want this to be expensive, not super expensive, but expensive, where people feel like they have skin in the game. So they've got to be doing something and pay a good amount of money to come, and that acts as the filter to make sure that you have the right person in the room. Okay, if you have the right person in the room, then chances are you'll make money, you'll make sales. If you have the wrong person in the room, you're just going to waste time, energy, and effort. So you want to use pricing and purpose as a filter to do it. The pitch begins with the marketing. So start with the end in mind. You have to figure out what it is you're going to pitch. And once again, inside the program, I break all this down. You want to start with what it is you're going to pitch, and you have to work backwards. Okay, in every component of your event, all the way to the beginning of your marketing, even the name, has got to be aligning people and preparing them to buy whatever it is you're selling. You need to teach the what and sell the how. Now, next week, I'm going to do an entire training on this right here. Okay, on how to sell the what. And I'm going to put that training inside the course, FYI. But I was at my buddy Tim Lyons. I was down at Legacy Gym in Scottsdale, and I was working with his A-team, and they do these big events, like 300-400 people, and it costs them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I was showing them that I think I can run a small event about 24 people, and they can probably make the same amount of sales. And so I was showing him, and he loved it. So he came down and did a training for all of his team this past week, and we're going to be working with them on helping them create their small event. And I did an entire training with them because this was their big question. Okay, walk me through this. And so what we learned was one of the reasons why they struggle with a lot of sales is they teach too much how. And you need to sell that. That's what they need to get after they buy. And you need to teach the what. And so I did an entire training with them on how to do that. And I'm like, this is really good. I I want to bring this to the table. I want to bring this public. So next week I'm gonna do an entire training just on that. You're not gonna want to miss it. Solve just one problem. Your event can't solve 100 problems, so just solve one problem. That's it. Okay, and they'll pay money to come to this small event to get that one problem solved before they leave. Okay. Community, community, community. Intentionally facilitate and build relationships with each other. So in other words, at your event, don't make it all content. Make sure you have time for them to party and play together. That's super important, okay? Inspiration trumps information every single time. Inspire people, okay? This is why, we walk on glass, or we break boards, or we tell stories, or, I do a lot of crowd work to help people get breakthroughs. I want to inspire them. Okay, I want to inspire them. Feelings last longer than facts. Build in opportunities for them to laugh, to cry, to chuckle, to hug, to high five. Okay, and I want you to launch a beta. Your product doesn't have to be perfect before you launch it. Attendees at your event will love to be your beta testers, right? They'll love to be your beta testers. So whatever your product is, launch that in beta. Use an event, 12 to 24 people, to teach your pathway, and then sell them into your program in beta. Select extraordinary venues. If you're going to do more than a one-day event, I want you to select extraordinary venues, and Airbnb and Vrbo will let you do this. Okay, so nothing creates fear of missing out more than great venues. So don't go for boring hotels. I want you to consider renting castles, mega houses, tree houses, old churches, mansions. I do this intentionally with my events, and we have. I would venture to say 25% of the people who show up to our events because of the venue, not even because of what we're teaching. Okay, we rented this big, gigantic castle in up north of Seattle. We call it the Scooby-Doo Castle. Had 22. So it could sleep 22, and we sold all 22 seats in one day because it was a stinking castle, right? And that actually happened to be a small event, big profit, like where we were teaching that, but we did in the castle. Okay, and they loved it. Now, what was fascinating about this castle was it didn't have Wi-Fi. We didn't know that till we got there. We didn't have Wi-Fi. And here I am working with a bunch of digital marketers. So we had to go rent a van. It was so funny. We had to go rent a big van. A couple of them actually, put everybody in the van, and we drove to McDonald's because McDonald's has free Wi-Fi, and we were building funnels and everything in McDonald's. One of the most fun things that we've ever done. Lots of memories. People still talk about, like, oh, remember when we were at Scooby-Doo Castle and we all had to go to McDonald's? Okay, those kinds of things are extraordinary. So select extraordinary venues. Okay, but with this, don't break the budget doing it. Okay, you still want to make sure that the fee that they're paying for the event pays for the event. Okay, so don't break the budget, right? So don't go get something that's $5,000 a night. That would be ridiculous. Okay, so that Scooby-Doo Castle, I want to say for the 4 days, it cost me $4,500, but I had 22 people. So just think about that. So if I have 22 people of $4,500, okay, let's make it easy. Let's say it was $4,400. We had 22 people. That means it cost me $200 per person to have that event, and we were there 4 nights, which means it costs about $50 a night for somebody to sleep there, as opposed to $200 a night at a hotel. So it's way cheaper, but the venue is really cool. Okay, all right, we get into all that in the program. Create memorable experiences. Okay, so this is what I was telling you: board breaks, walking on glass, pool parties. We have magicians come to our thing. We've had DJs. We've had all sorts of things. I have tons of surprises at mine. Like, everybody gets massaged. Okay, so we have table massages. We do hair and makeup. We do video. We do all sorts of things at our events. And most of the time, people don't even know it. So when they get there, I always have all these surprises up my sleeve, and everybody's just waiting. Oh, what's next? What's next? What's next? Right? And it just creates this really cool feeling. Okay. If possible, make your events all-inclusive. So what I like to do with my 3-4 day events, or even 2-day events, is I want them to pay a ticket fee and then not have to worry about anything. We even help them get to the event, okay? So like on my Slaycation, okay, my event that I have in Belize, okay, it's $7,200. When they pay the $7,200, and it's 6 days, okay, 7 days, 6 nights. It's 7 days, 6 nights. It's $7,200. I even cover their plane ticket with that $7,200. I cover everything. So they pay $7,200. they wipe their hands, and everything else is done. Okay, you don't necessarily have to pay for the airfare, but I just build it in. I build it in, okay, and I cover all of that, right? And so, if possible, make it all inclusive. So make sure it covers their lodging and their food, and like, guys, here's why. What I've learned is when they have to when they have to figure all that out, then you're not the boss anymore. Okay, so when I used to host events and everybody had to figure out their own transportation and their own food and their own hotel, whatever, I found that most of the time half the room was empty when I was teaching because they were out doing stuff, right? But when I make it all inclusive, everybody's there on time. Everybody's there on time. Okay, so we have a private chef. Chef Dave or my sister is typically who cooks for us, and so breakfast is from this time to this time, and right after breakfast is our event. So everybody's there on time. I cover lunch. I cover dinner. So we don't have to leave. They don't have to worry about it. Okay? My assistant gets them from the airport to the house. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to be stressed. They just get off the plane and they look for the Uber dude, or they come out and they look for the Uber dude and he's holding a sign that's got your name on it. You jump in his car and you go. That's what I'm talking about, making it all inclusive. Build that into your price if possible, okay? So this is the third piece that I just want to briefly highlight. And then once again, I break all of this down in depth inside the program. And once again, if you want it, just simply put event. It's $99. I'll give you all 10 trainings. I'll give you my administration manual on how to pull all this off, all my tools, all my resources. I have a workbook plus all the stuff. I'll show you exactly how to do it. It's $99. First time I've ever done this. And I just was teaching it the other day, and somebody saw this, and they were like, dude, why doesn't the world know about this? Okay, so let's make this happen. And I got to go quickly because I just got the 5% notice, 10% notice on my computer. So we got to go quickly. There are 5 types of events. There's actually 6, but I'm not going to tell you the 6th one today. Okay? There's 5 types of events that you can pull off as a coach, okay, or as a consultant or as a strategist, small business owner. The first one is my favorite. It's called the one-day mastermind. Okay, one-day mastermind. This is where you show up, and once again, inside the program, I break this whole thing down. I have a whole manual on exactly how to do this, okay? This is the most profitable event I've ever done. It's the one-day mastermind, okay? You put 24 people in a room with me at one-day mastermind, I'll turn that 24 people into $100,000. It happens over and over and over and over again. This is like an 8:30 to 5:30 event, okay? And it sort of condenses everything that we were talking about into one day. It's one of my favorite types of events. Second type of event is called the pay-to-play. The pay-to-play is where the event is the product. Okay, so like my Slaycation. So you're paying to play, $7,200. The event is the product. I don't pitch or anything there. Okay, and so you pay, you come. Okay. The third type of event is called the pathway to pitch. This is where you're going to come to a small event, get all the experiences. I'm going to teach you the what through my pathway, and at the end of it, I'm going to make a pitch. So I get them to the event for as little money as possible, okay? And then at the event, I make a pitch, and that pitch allows me to be profitable. The fourth type of event is called the groupie. This is one of my favorite types of events. In fact, it's the second most favorite type of event. The groupie is when you have a high-ticket coaching program like Kavu. You incorporate events in your coaching program for your group. Okay, so let's say you have 24 seats and you have 16 people. Then those 8 vacancies, I sell tickets to prospects or give tickets to prospects to fill up that event. And then what happens is my clients sell those prospects into my high-ticket coaching program. I don't even have to sell. They do it. They're like, oh my gosh, Chad's the greatest thing ever. Oh my gosh, Kavu is the greatest thing ever. You got to get. And then now what I find is my clients are the ones talking them into getting in the group, right? Because, man, I really like you. I wish you were part of our group. That's the power of the groupie, okay? The fifth type is what we call the HEHO. The HEHO is the high event, high offer, okay? So where it's expensive to come to your event, so like $5,029, and you're going to sell a high-ticket coaching program, $25,000 plus. That's called the HEHO. These types of events are very powerful. So if you have a super high coaching program and you're trying to figure out how do I get qualified people in a room, you charge a lot of money for your event. Okay, you may charge $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 just to come to your really cool event, and then at that event you've blown them away and then you show them the next step, which is your high ticket coaching program, and you move them in there. In fact, what I like to do, so if I have like a $30,000 coaching program or $25,000 coaching program, and they just paid $5,000 to come to the event, what I'll do is I'll tell them, hey, listen, you just paid $5,000 to come to this event. What if I allowed you to take that $5,000 and use that as your down payment into the coaching program? Sold, right? So those are the 5 different types of events. Okay, you say, well, Chad, I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, naivety is your friend. When you don't know what you don't know, you develop skill sets and don't even know it. Okay, so if you don't know what you're doing, chances are it's the best time. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Everything else you're going to have to get inside of the program. But if you like this and you want to pull off your own event, I have everything for it. Okay, I've got all the teaching, all the training. I have workbooks, I have manuals, I have tools, I have resources, I have budgets, I have you name it, and I'm updating and adapting it all the time. Plus, I've got everything that you need to be able to pull off your own event. Okay, if you were to come to my 4-day event and do this, it would cost you $1,029 when I'm doing what I call my cover your expenses type thing, or it's $5,029 if I'm using it as a HEHO, and we've done both. Okay, it's not $99. And you can have all this for $99. So if you want this, just simply put the word event in the comments, or better yet, shoot me a DM. That way it's a little bit more private. Shoot me a DM, and we can take care of this for you. I can send you a link. You pay your $99. I'll let you in the program, and you got it. Okay, and you got it. And if you want coaching or whatever, we can help you do. We can help you with all that as well. So hey, I hope this was helpful to you.